what happens next is we're going to do the AI. What I like to do with the AI is to determine who goes first. Is I like to shuffle them up together, and I like to just draw one and see. I know there's only two, but you know, yeah, just making sure there. I didn't think there was. So that's how I do the AI. So a couple things to note with the AI. If an AI moves into a location, let's say they move into a location and they have an option to do battle and I don't have anything there, nothing happens. Okay, they only react to things that I do or my stuff. So if they're in a location where there are orbitals, let's say, and they have a battle action where they could attack an orbital, unless one of those orbitals is mine, they're not going to do anything. The way that it reads in the rule book specifically is that it says the AI, if using multiple AIs in the game, each AI will react to the actions taken by you only. So they're kind of oblivious to each other. So take these. These are the two cards from the two AI players. Shuffling, and shuffling. Maybe hopefully that's not a copyright thing because YouTube's crazy sometimes. So we're gonna start with this top one, and it is the Azarians. Okay, so on the Azarians, first thing I have to determine: do I have any damage or do I have less than 4 energy? I look at their player mat. I see they do not have any damage on the system. They have more than 4 energy, so I do not have to worry about that, which means I'm going to be picking from one of these two columns. How do I determine which column? I look at mine. In this case, the action that's farthest to the right is in the second column, where that divider is. So I'm going to use this second column, so I'm going to be using this right hand column over here. Now that I've determined that, I roll the 4, so I'm going to be taking the 4th row actions. Okay, so again, I may need to consult. Move that down here, set that right there. Yeah, need to consult the action card. So number 4 says +4 Tau, so I go to the blue player, the Azarian player. They are currently at 13. I'm going to add 4. That's going to make them 17. That part's done. They're going to do a recruit action. I'm going to mark that they did a recruit action just so I can go back and know. Alright, so let's talk about recruiting, because it's the first time we've done a recruit action. Recruit actions are going to cost you your materials marker times 1. Okay, so on the player board where you have the building and the upgrading, well, you know what? Let me just show you. Be a lot easier. Okay, so if you look down here, this is your build and your upgrade, and remember this is what we're going to use for orbitals. So we look down here, and if you notice, this recruit action does not have a cost listed down here, and that's because it depends on what your track is down here. right, on this build and upgrade track. So currently my marker is right here in the center, and underneath that I have a 2 tau is what's printed. So it's, and you can see here's a little helpful reminder for recruiting. That's the recruit symbol right here. You multiply that number by 1. For building, you multiply that number by 2 when you build an orbital. In this case we're recruiting, so 2 times 1 is 2. So in order to recruit, it's going to cost us 2 tau. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to move this marker from 17 down to 15. Okay. Then I'm going to draw 1 crisis card, 1 specialist card right here, and then I'm going to add that to the other 2 cards they already have, and these will be shuffled at the beginning of the next cycle to determine which card. They'll throw one of those random cards into the crisis deck and get their 3 energy for that. And again, I'm not looking at these. I don't know what these are. Put that over here. So that's that action. So now let's go back to the map, to the galaxy, and let's see what their next move is. Alright guys, so that was their recruit action. Next action is upgrade. So we're going to move that materials marker that we just saw to the right. We'll look down here, upgrade, move the materials marker, then roll the die to determine which system is upgraded. So we're going to roll this dice. All 6s are rolled because they don't use the lab, that's just for us. So we roll it again. So 3, that is the computer system. Choose the highest power possible, then pay the cost. If the system is already upgraded, roll die again until a different system is selected. If a 6 is rolled, roll again. So we're going to look at computers. We're going to choose, it says, choose the highest power possible. So I'm going to assume the way I've always played, and if I am incorrect, please let me know in the comments, outer limit. Then I'm assuming that means I pick, for instance, in this case, there is a 4 available. So I'm looking at all these tokens, right, from the Galactic Depot. There is a 4 available. So I'm going to put all these back, and the order doesn't matter. They just sit out there. Alright guys, so that was my turn. So now let's talk about the AI. So what's going to happen next is we're going to shuffle up the cards, and we're going to draw an AI. So I'm going to, there was only 2, so I'll just give them a quick shuffle here. Alright, there's a good shuffle. Shuffle them up, we're going to draw them. So let's take a quick look at the AI cards. Alright. So each of the AI cards has a specific set of options, right? So they got basically 2 main options. They have the options in the first column, options in the second column, and then they have kind of a default action if they're damaged or if they don't have enough energy to really do anything, because energy is very important. You know, pretty much everything with the exception of resolving a crisis or recruiting takes some amount of energy, so energy is important. So if you look on the bottom down here, you can see that we've got a white and a gray section. So if either one of those are true, if they have greater than 1 damage, we're going to take that option. If they have less than 4 energy, then we're gonna take that option. Otherwise, we choose from the column, and then we play it out, right? So in this case, I'm looking at the Union Collective. They do not have any damage, and they have currently they have 11 energy, so we don't need to worry about that. All right, so we're going to be dealing with one of these two columns. Now, on the player sheet, on the faction map, you have some dividers. Basically, if you pick in the left 4 actions, whatever those actions are, you have the left 4 and then the right 4. The middle 2 don't count. If you do an action in either the left or the right, you basically go to whichever column to the far right that you've been used. So in my case, I have interplanetary mission was one that I did. That was in the left-hand column on my faction map. And then on the right-hand column is explore. I did that twice. And that is on, like I said, the right-hand column. So what I would do in that case is I'm going to be picking this column right here, okay, to look at. And again, since I picked this column, since I don't have any damage and I've got plenty of energy, I don't have to worry about that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to roll a die, a 5. And so what that means is I'm going to pick the 5th option, okay, for the AI. That's what I'm going to do, number 5. So I'm going to put this right up here so we can remember. So, and then I'm going to do the options from left to right. And when I do the options, it's gonna be just like I was a player. Okay, I'm gonna have to pay energy for it. I'm gonna get money for it if it's like a sell or buy. If it was a sell or buy, although I don't think that they do sales or buy. Well, they don't, because they don't use commodities. But anything that would affect energy or Tau, it's gonna affect me, right? It's gonna affect the AI. So, and I'm going to pay for it just like I would. The AI is going to pay for it just like they would as if they were a player. So number 5 says the first thing we do is we add 8 Tau. So currently the Union are at 16, and we're going to add 8, so that means they're going to be at 24. Now, it's worth it to note that that has just put the Union up to the plus 20 spot on their Tau, and that is 1 galactic point for them. Okay, so they're now, because they have a little bit more Tau, they have a little extra galactic point wise. Of course, during the course of the game we'll spend it, I'm sure, but that's where they're sitting now. So the next one says upgrade. So we'll scoot this over right quick. And the game comes with a really handy sheet that tells you what the actions are for the AI. To explain it, because they do sometimes do something a little bit different. So I'm going to put that down here. So for upgrading, it says move the materials marker, then roll die to determine which system is upgraded. Choose the highest power possible, then pay the cost. If the system is already upgraded, roll die again until a different system is selected. If a 6 is rolled, roll again. Okay, so first things first, move the materials marker. Again, this is exactly the same as I would do if I chose an upgrade action. I'm going to move the material marker to the right on my track. In this particular case, for them, it doesn't make a change. In the Tau, it's still 2. Then roll to determine which system is upgraded. So I'm going to take my dice and I'm going to roll. It is not a 6. If it was a 6, we would have had to re-roll. It is another 5. Okay. So that is going to be cargo. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go up here to cargo, and I'm going to, they're currently at cargo 1, so I'm going to find a cargo 4. That's if I am wrong, if I'm incorrect in this outer limit, let me know, but I'm assuming that it says the highest possible, choose the highest power possible. I'm assuming that means the highest power possible in what's in the depot. So I'm going to take that, which is a 4, so I've got it right there. Okay, I'm going to put it on their map, so that system is upgraded. Now, the thing with these guys, with the AI and upgrades, is once a system is upgraded, they cannot upgrade again, that same system, right? Because you're choosing the highest power possible. So if I had rolled, let's say that I do this action again later and I roll a 5, I would re-roll it. If somehow they manage to do an upgrade every time, then basically if the AI cannot perform an action, then they just skip it. Okay, if they can't pay for it for some reason or something like that during the course of their turn, they skip it. So I would just skip it. In this case, they could pay for it. And so that's what we did. All right, and they're going to pay. So the way this works to pay for it, because remember they're gonna pay the exact same way that we do. The way that they calculate what they pay is also the same as we would do. So there's not a difference there. We're going to look at the level of the upgrade. In this case, it is a level 4. Now, I will do want to remind you that if this was me doing an upgrade, the way the rules are written, I would have to go to the next available power, but I couldn't go all the way to the top, right? So let's say that my cargo, if I had done an upgrade and my cargo was at 1, I would have had to have upgraded to 2, right? I would not have been able to upgrade to 3. Strictly speaking, by the rules in multiplayer, if you need to upgrade, you have to go to the next level. If that level is not available, then you basically don't get to upgrade that system. All right. There's been some discussion on the BGG about alternative ways to do that. So if you had somebody take that and it wasn't available, you could still maybe pay for all the previous upgrades to get to the next one. But as the rules are written, you just have to go to the next level. If you can't go to the next level yourself, then you don't get to do it. Okay, so that's how that works. So in this case, we're gonna look at the level. The way it works is you look at the level, the technology that you're increasing to. So in this case, we're going to a 4, and then each technology is associated on the player mat. Underneath it, you have an icon for what on the Tau Ceti exchange it's going to cost. Okay, so I'm looking at the player mat, and I see that I've got a 4, and I'm looking at the Tau Ceti exchange, and I'm seeing that I've got the plasma, which is a level 3. So 4 times 3, that's 12. So currently this unit has 24. So we're going to take 12 from that and take them down to 12. Okay, so that was the upgrade action. Then we have the recruit action. Okay, so recruit action. Normally during a recruit action, human players are going to draw 1 crisis, 1 specialist. Solo mode is a little bit different, and that is that when they draw, they are going to get 2 specialists and 1 crisis when they do a recruit action, and they do not have a hand limit size. I believe I've already said that they don't have a hand limit size, so they're going to get just as many cards as they get, and those are actually going to be points. So effectively, a recruit action equates to potentially 3 points for them. Of course, just remember every turn they're going to contribute a card, so they're going to be throwing away 1 point every turn, but you're going to see them definitely ramp that up. So you really do. One of the challenges I think with a solo mode is, they're guaranteed galactic points every turn, so you have to be very smart about what option you take to get those points, because when you say explore a knowledge token, you may or may not get it, and you may spend a couple actions to do that, and at the end of the day you have nothing to show for it because you failed the test or something like that. Whereas every turn they're guaranteed to get 2 points. So like in 8 cycles, 8 Cetian cycles, they're going to have 16 points plus whatever's showing. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're doing solo. So, alright, so that's number 5. So that's the recruit action. And then we have interplanetary mission. So, interplanetary mission. It says pay the cost, then draw one interplanetary mission card from the top of the deck and complete. So, with the AI, it does not matter whether they are on a planet or not, right? In this case, he is on a planet, but even if he'd have been, say, down here, he still would have drawn the card, or even over here, he still would have drawn the card, right? And been able to draw the card because he was. That's what they do. They don't do any kind of movement, so that's how that works. They're going to draw the card regardless. So let's leave that right there. Let's move this out of the way. Get that out of the way. Draw an interplanetary mission. All right. So your command ship crew has been accused of espionage by the Junon Collective. Oh, that's funny. Since it is the Junon. Travel to Juno to resolve the matter. Okay, so in this case, it's saying that your command ship would have to go to Juno. As it turns out, we're already there. And then it says user diplomacy skill. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to check. And by the way, the AI will not get rerolls. Okay, we're going to check their card. We're going to look at their card. Dr. Cringy has 4 in science, 3 in logistics. So he's only going to use 2 dice because he's looking for diplomacy. He has no diplomacy. Okay, so we're going to take 2 dice. You see me rolling them, and 5 and a 1. That is a success, and so that means he gets 1 galactic point. That card is going to go underneath the bottom of the interplanetary mission pile, and we're going to get 1 galactic point and give it to him. Let me grab those right quick. It's funny, you set up for this thinking that you got everything ready, and I keep finding stuff that I forgot. So, all right, I got these. Just gonna pull out one of these tokens. So here's one of the tokens, right? So we'll take this. We'll take this token. I'm gonna put it over here with Dr. Cringy, so that he's got that. I'm also going to go ahead while I'm at it. I'm going to discard that Marauder token that I had earlier since I've got these over here now, and give myself one of these as well for defeating him instead of leaving the token over there. Alright. So, there we go. Alright. Cool. Now, that was his recruit action, his interplanetary. So he has completed all of his actions. So he is done. Alright. So let's move the dice. Take his AI card. Set it over here because it's been completed. Oh, also, let me mention this. It doesn't matter right this second, but it could potentially matter later. The AI will attempt to resolve crises. That is not an action that they'll take specifically as far as on their card. But you check and see if they resolve a crisis at the beginning of their turn, and if they ever do an exploration or recruit action. So we did a recruit action. Alright. Technically, since we did a recruit action, we would look through their cards, see if they could complete anything. They cannot. Now, they do have a specialist, but they do not have a chemical crisis token. So, no dice there. So, And I know we just looked at the card, right, for them, but that's okay because we're going to be shuffling those up and drawing those later, so it's not going to matter. All right. Next up, the Azarians. And let me put the action card over here with them as well, just to be consistent. And again, since this is the first turn, they obviously have plenty of energy and plenty of no damage on them, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to roll the dice, a die, and see which one action we take. Alright, so it's number 1. So first, we recruit. Remember, recruiting and recruit action is going to cost them their materials marker. Which is getting moved to the right for blue, for the Zarians. It is 2, so it's going to be 2 total. They're going to go down by 2, and that's going to be, they had 13, they're now going to have 11. Okay? So that's recruit action. Again, technically, sorry, let's grab the crisis and 2 specialists. Again, technically we would check to see if they could resolve a crisis. They cannot resolve a crisis because they do not have any knowledge tokens. So we don't have to worry about that. Next action is build. Build action. Move materials marker and pay cost and replace 1 AI resource cube with AI orbital. If no AI resource cubes are present, don't take the build action. So because this AI has not explored anywhere yet, they do not have a resource cube because, again, they're treated very much like a human player. They do not have a resource cube that they could build an orbital with. So that is that action. We can't do that action, so we just go to the next one. The next one is, again, upgrade. So we remember from our previous AI that we're going to roll the dice and see which system we upgrade. We're upgrading system 1, that is weapons. So that here, we're going to pull weapons for gamma ray. We're going to put it on the weapons mat there, and weapons are military. Okay, and again, that symbol is underneath. I'll point that out when we look at the player mats. That symbol is underneath the weapons there on the player mat, so you'll know. So weapons are military, so that's 4 times. We look at the exchange, that market level is 2 for the military symbols. That means it's going to cost them 8. Currently they have 11. That means that they're going to go down to 3. So we move them down to 3. Alright. So they move down to 3. That's their upgrade action. And interplanetary mission. So we have another interplanetary mission. Move that out of the way. Interplanetary mission. Alright, this one uses diplomacy. Again, I look at their card. Now in this case, we can see that in fact their specialization for diplomacy is in diplomacy. So we're going to actually roll 4 die, right? Because of that specialization. Palinor. So we're going to grab 4 dice. So grab this one over here. Roll all these at the same time. The number doesn't matter for them. It doesn't matter on this card, but that's that is a success with a 5 there. All right. So that means they receive at the bottom here in the blue. A success says +5 Tau. We're going to give them 5 more Tau, so they went from 3 now to 8. That card is going to go to the bottom of the stack of interplanetary missions. And that completes their AI turn. Okay? So we'll take these out here. Put them back over here. Put the reference cards over here. Alright. So, there you go. That's one full turn.